everyone, it's Mike here from Robart, and we're going to be using the Zap Finishing Resin today to do some fiberglassing, show you how easy it is. Zap is offered in a 12 ounce or a 4 ounce bottle. There's 2 bottles in each one. You have the resin and then you have the hardener. We're also going to be using the new Robart fiber kit. The fiber kit is a great starters kit. Comes with a static brush, a Robart spreading card, 5 mixing cups, 5 mixing sticks, and then 1 sanding stick to finish it off, cut that resin off. So what I'm going to do now is I'll show you how this all works. So the general misconception is that fiberglassing is very difficult. What I have here is a small piece of balsa that we're going to be fiberglassing today. First thing I'm going to do is size a piece of lightweight fiberglass. And when I cut this out, I'm going to cut it larger than the actual piece that we're going to be fiberglassing. Does not have to be perfect at all. You're actually going to be cutting all of the extra off once the fiberglass resin, the finishing resin is fully set. So we'll be using the fiber kit. First thing you're going to use is the static brush. This brush, all you're going to do is literally brush the fiberglass and create a static charge so that the fiberglass itself is stuck to your piece of balsa. Take your brush, put it off to the side. Next, I'm going to go ahead and open up the finishing resin. And here is a nice little trick, is you can use the silicone tape, wrap it around the bottle, and now you have an easy on and off that will seal the tip instead of using the cap that comes with it. Take my mixing cup, pour equal amounts of the hardener and the resin into the cup, and you want to mix these at a 50-50 ratio. 1 part hardener, 1 part resin. Take your mixing stick, mix this up so that you get a consistent brown hue. The finishing resin has a very odorless it's very odorless. It does have this brown hue to it. Now that you have the resin mixed up in a consistent color, now we're going to take our Robart spreading card and the finishing resin. Take your finishing resin, spread it, pour it right down the middle of the piece that you are going to be fiberglassing. Take your card. Now all you're simply going to do is just spread the resin with the card. And as you can see, the static brush has stuck the fiberglass to the balsa, and no longer having multiple people to hold the fiberglass, you can do this all as one person. Now here is something neat here. We have a little bubble, so you can take your card and get on one side of the bubble. You can take a stick here, and all you'll do is just pull that bubble right on out with the card. Using the mixing stick, all I'm doing is just holding the back side of the fiberglass. Now, what you're going to notice is we've got a lot of excess resin on our piece and on the card. What you're going to do now is just take a rag or a piece of paper towel, and you can leave all this excess resin on your wing, your decoy, whatever you're fiberglassing, but all that does is add additional sanding later. So what we want to do is we want to pull this off and wipe it. So what we're going to do is you're going to take that spreading card and you're going to go pull the excess off, and on every swipe now you're going to wipe the card off. And work your way all the way down so that you see no shiny spots or excess resin on your piece. Go in multiple directions. Make sure there's no lines in your resin. And there we are, all done. Go ahead and pick this up. I'll just use the mixing cups to elevate the piece that we are fiberglassing to allow it to dry, and let that sit overnight. Make some slight modifications if when you lifted it there were some of the fiberglass had lifted off. And now we're all done. We'll let that sit overnight. Tomorrow we'll come back, sand off the excess fiberglass, and put our second coat on. For your cleanup, the resin is easily cleaned up with a little denatured alcohol. So any excess that I have on my workstation, all this will just be cleaned up with that denatured alcohol. See you tomorrow. Okay, everyone. We let this sit overnight. We allowed the Zap Finishing Resin to cure. So the next step is to take your sanding stick out of the fiber kit, and we're going to cut the excess fiberglass off of the edges. Simply take your sanding stick and sand the edges of the excess fiberglass, and you'll find that it cuts itself. We're just sanding that right smooth. It's cutting the excess resin and fiberglass off. If the sanding stick does get a little full of dust, flip it over, use another section, or just tap out the dust. And there you go. You've cut the excess fiberglass off. That throws away. And now from here, take your sanding stick, clean up your edges. And you got nice smooth edges, ready to go, nice and clean. Next step would be to take some high grit sandpaper, buff this down, clean it off with some denatured alcohol, and then put a second coat on. Put as many coats on as you want to get rid of the fibers that you see on the wood. Usually about 2-3 coats will work. You want to continue to make them nice and thin using that spreading card to keep the weight down on whatever you're fiberglassing. The strength is coming from the fiberglass. The resin is offering waterproofing, it's offering ability to paint, so on and so forth. Once you've got the final coat on there, sand it one more time, clean it up with a little denatured alcohol, and then hit it with some primer, and then paint away. Make it look the way you want to. For more information on the Zap Finishing Resin and other Zap products, or additional Robart products, check us out at www.robart.com. Give us a call at 630-524-4370 or follow us on Facebook.